Hello everyone, welcome to the Evil Empire. I'm your host, Evil Empire, and this week on the weekly feature, it's Colorless Ramp. So this is a deck that can do some pretty busted stuff, and essentially it's an artifact ramp deck at heart that wants to go over the top of opponent strategies and just drop as many huge colorless threats as possible. So I first saw this deck being posted by Travis Gibson, at Travis C. Gibson on Twitter, and his deck list was retweeted by the Arena Decklist Twitter account. So when I saw it, I thought this was something that we had never really seen before in Historic, and I knew that I was going to have to show it to people on the Historic feature. So one thing that this card picked up, which was a huge get from Zendikar Rising, is the Forsaken Monument. So this is 5 colorless mana for a legendary artifact that reads: creatures your opponents, colorless creatures you control get +2/+2. Whenever you tap a permanent for colorless, add an additional colorless, and then whenever you cast a colorless spell, you gain 2 life. So an engine card that lets us double our mana, and once we put this down, we're able to cast pretty much everything in our deck, and we'll drop huge threats like Ulamog or Ugin the Spirit Dragon, or we'll be able to easily activate our Golos, having gone and grabbed Cascading Cataracts out of our deck. So a lot of cool things that we can do once the monument hits the battlefield. And we're also running one of our monument in the sideboard so we can grab it with our Karn the Great Creator. So Karn the Great Creator is an incredibly powerful and well-positioned card in the metagame right now. Cat Oven is definitely seeing a lot of play in the best of 1 queues, and just Karn's ability to shut down the Oven and any other artifacts that might be around, like, for example, a Bolas' Citadel, or a Chromatic Lantern if you're playing against Chromatic Black. One of those things that really is underrated is his passive ability here. Karn's passive ability is incredibly powerful, and it's entirely one-sided. So we can use all of our artifacts, but they can use none of theirs. So an incredibly powerful card, and lets us even go grab our Forsaken Monument out of the sideboard. In the 1 mana slot, we are main decking Cage, which is kind of an incredible statement about the format, but just the prominence of Uro and Muxus and Cruxa and other graveyard strategies, Arcanist, the Dreadhorde Arcanist as well. All of those types of decks really fold quickly once you get a Cage on the board, and we're also running one more of the Graphic Cage in the sideboard. In the 2 mana slot, we have 8 Mana Rocks with Guardian Idol and Mindstone, 3 Maze Mind Tome for card advantage and extra life gain capacity. Hedron Archive is the secret best card in the deck. It allows us to have the most explosive starts if we can drop it on turn 3, having played a 2 Mana Rock on turn 2. And we just get to really go to town. Sometimes we get lucky enough to even, using Hedron Archive and then dropping another Mindstone or Guardian Idol off of the Hedron Archive on turn 4. We can untap for our turn 4 and just have an absolute incredible amount of mana. Sometimes as much as 8 mana if we're able to hit all of our land drops, drop that extra Mindstone. We'll untap for turn 4 with 7, and then we'll drop the extra 8th mana just to be able to absolutely power out an Ugin the Spirit Dragon. It's possible, theoretically, if you hit all your land drops, which is very unlikely because we're only running 24 land in the deck, but still, if you do, you could curve out perfectly and hit a Spirit Dragon and just wipe their entire board. So other fun things that we're doing in this deck include Karn Scion of Urza as a card advantage engine and a way to make some blockers. We have the 5 mana slot along with the Monument, Golos, to be able to hopefully cast some stuff for free off the top of our deck. Ugin the Ineffable for blockers, ramp, and removal. Although the removal is sometimes a little bit underwhelming, and unfortunately, just like the other Ugin card, the removal here does not hit colorless cards, so it can be difficult to use in the mirror. In our mana base, we have 4 of each of Interplanar Beacon, Radiant Fountain, and Zolfir Void, and then a bunch of 2-ofs over here on the other side, with Buried Ruin being an extra sweet land that was added from the Jumpstart set, and kind of the usual suspects of colorless lands. Crawling Barrens, the new one from Zendikar Rising, is one that can help us finish the game if we're a little light on creatures. In the sideboard, we have all the usual suspects, so Shadow Spear in case our opponent has Indestructible or Hexproof, the Cage, the Crypt, Ratchet Bomb is a board wipe, a pair of Sorceress Spyglass. I think the ability to look at our opponent's hand is something that can really be helpful a lot of times to get an idea of what they're doing. Crucible of Worlds to maybe play some lands out of the graveyard. Helm of the Host to copy our various colorless creatures and make sure that our legendary copies are not legendary, so you can copy your Golos or copy your Ulamog, although obviously you won't get the cast trigger off the Ulamog. At least you do get the 10/10 indestructible body. And then Mystic Forge as a way to gain card advantage, Perilous Vault for another board wipe, a Golos to come out of the sideboard, a Monument to come out of the sideboard, Godfarer's Statue, a Chroma's Memorial, and a Meteor Golem. So that is Colorless Ramp, and we're going to take it into the Historic Ladder. Let's see how we do. Well, this hand doesn't have any ramps, so I think we're just going to have to mulligan it. Okay, if we draw a 2-mana rock, we might be okay, but we'll have to see. Put back the Golos, I think, because if we're facing a control deck, then a big tap-out threat like Golos is not really what we want to do. Okay, so we'll scry, and we'll put Ulamog on the bottom. Don't want to draw that right now. It's not the right time of the game. Yeah, there's only one time of game for Ulamog, and that's when we have Forsaken Monument out. Okay, so we will not draw our 2-mana rock and just pass the turn. Very sad pass of the turn. We're playing against Esper. Okay, so this turn we can at least put a counter on Blast Zone and start getting ready for maybe their Doom Foretold or whatever it is they're doing. Okay, just want to play Draw Go. Trying to feel us out, wait for our first threat to come down, and then they're just going to counter it. So we'll try to play this Hedron Archive, but I'm guessing it's going to eat a counter, which is fine. Oh, okay, the other Ulamog? Sure. So let's get this countered, or not. That resolved very quickly. We can now play the Monument. Yeah, that'll be fine. We will figure out a way to get rid of that.
This will be child's play.
Maybe with a Sorceress Spyglass or something.
I'm really good.
So no value there. Yeah. Wait, so do we want to... Yeah, I think we have to do it this way. It makes more sense. But not going to get to do anything off of it, which is sad, but... Next turn, we can Ulamog, which is going to be pretty busted. Might even be able to get a land of theirs if we're lucky. Oh, are they going to kill the Monument? Sure.
I hope you said your goodbyes.
Maybe like a D-Spark or something. Really? Oh, it's like that. I see. I see. Okay. Well, a bit of an easy one to start off with. Alright, so this is a keep, but we really wish that this Maze Mind Tome was like, you know, one of our 2-mana rocks, like a Guardian Idol or a Mind Stone, but maybe we'll draw one. We have a couple of Zephyr and Void to scry with. Okay, so goblins. If we see red, it's usually goblins. Okay, yes. Kick that for sure. That's exactly what we needed here. So we're gonna not scry on the next one, I don't think. Oh, a Thermo Alchemist deck? Okay. Well, if we can ramp hard enough, we may be able to get rid of that. Even just by plussing on Ugin, we can get rid of that. So here, Guardian Idol, and that'll be it for now. What will our opponent have? Okay, Burn Spell. Oh, just a Gutter Snipe? Okay. That's decent. At least we're not getting burnt out just yet. Alright, let's see what our next draw is going to be, and then we'll dump a Hedron Archive, and... Okay, that's a pretty good one. That way we can block a little bit. So archive, and then I guess the Mind Stone just to be most efficient. They're not going to be playing out of the graveyard at all, so cage is basically blank cardboard here. I think we'll scry just to put the counter on the tome, but we're about to take a lot of damage, I'm afraid. Yep, here it comes. Can we survive turn after next to get down the Ugin? Okay, well that's not a burn spell, so that's good. But we do take 2 from the Snipe, and then another 1 from the Alchemist, and they'll probably have like a 1 mana burn spell here to be able to get us even another 1 from the Alchemist and the Snipe. Yeah, here it comes. Yep. Okay. So I think the play is just go for the monument and then hope to live through our next turn to get to Ugin, but it looks pretty bad right now. That Scare the Critics that they drew was a problem for us. Okay, yeah, we're just dead here. This is over. This is a big fat over. Well, lots of ramp, but nothing to ramp into. It does have the cage, although we don't not facing a Luris deck at all, so it might not be good. Let's ship it and see if we can find a better balance. Yeah, here we go. And put back maybe the second archive, although that would be nice to be able to get us to 7 guaranteed. Yeah, I think we'll put back the second archive. Alright. So we really need to hit land next turn if we're going to be able to play this archive. Oh, never mind. They're going to take it. Bye-bye. Oh, the Karn. Okay. Well, now we can still hit the land. Alright, we didn't hit it. Alright, so we'll scry for it for next turn. And they are holding up Counterspell, so they're going to counter this archive. That is not a land. Okay, well, we try to hit the stop, but we hit the land anyway. It doesn't matter. We're going to get countered, and we'll draw another one and see if that gets countered. Okay. So the opponent's on 4 mana. Another counterspell would be my guess. Okay, another Thought Eraser. At least we get to resolve our archive. And we're left with 1 threat here with the Ugin the Ineffable. So we're not in a terrible position as long as they don't have a way to deal with our Ugin. We might as well draw now in case we hit a land. Alright, we did. Nice. Alright, so we're not going to play it into counter. We're just going to sit back for a minute and draw some cards with the... Let's draw one more with the Mind Stone. Okay, there we go. That was the card they wanted us to discard earlier in the game. So here's what we do. We go for the Ugin, and then we resolve the Karn. Oh no, we don't have the mana. Okay, oh well. At least we'll resolve the Mind Stone. Resolve all. Devious Covered Up is not one you see very much. Alright. Search. And they're gonna put down another mana and hold up a counter. We're just gonna go ahead and get to our turn. Play this. Get it countered. Gain a couple life at least. Oh, hello. Okay, so now we're going to grab a... what? Let's get a spyglass. Let's get a look at their hand. Okay, so we choose Ashiok. And they're going to have a hard time using those board wipes against us right now. Oh. Okay, what's the story on this? Do we have to do it at instant speed? Okay, yeah, we can do it at instant speed, okay. So we'll use the Buried Rune to get back Golos. Oh, no, not Golos. The Archive? No. Yeah, no, if they have the Wrath of Gods, then we definitely don't want Golos. Okay, that doesn't make a lot of sense, but it was a play that they can legally make. Alright, so let's gain 4 life and draw a card, instead of doing the Buried Rune plan. Because that was a bad plan. Cataract is interesting. Yeah, let's play out Cage. What should we grab next? Meteor Golem. And kill the Search. And then Meteor Golem eats a Wrath of God, and then we bring it back with Buried Ruin. Alright, we're in a pretty good spot here. Just look to draw some threats, and we can actually draw cards with our... yeah, obviously. We can draw cards with our... oh, okay, never mind, we don't need to. I was going to say we could draw with the... what do you call that thing? Arch of Orazka. But we don't actually need to, because the opponent was like, that's okay. Yeah, this is the kind of hand we're looking for. We can drop the Hedron Archive on 3 and then untap with a bunch of mana on 4. This is exactly what we were looking for hand-wise. So I usually try to sequence the Guardian Idol before I do Mind Stone, because Mind Stone comes in untapped and Guardian Idol comes in tapped, so generally you want to put the Guardian in front of the Mind Stone when you can, at least as far as I can tell. Alright, so we're playing against some kind of blue-white auras deck, probably, and Storm Tamer there. So, that's interesting. It could also just be like mono-blue Luris, which wouldn't surprise me if they just kind of... no, wait, no, that couldn't be, because they need the white mana to cast the Luris. Yeah, there it is, okay. And there's the Core Spirit Dancer. Okay, so we've got a clock on us now. But we should be able to do some pretty messed up stuff right here. This is going to be a turn 4 Ugin and ruin their day. Next turn we're going to untap with Ugin. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, they're about to get it here. Okay, sounds good. We'll just kill all that stuff, exile it all. We're going to have to -2 on the Ugin, and then we'll be in good shape. Yeah, there's nothing they can have, because Indestructible doesn't cut it. It's exile, so... so Ugin. Tap all my mana for an Ugin. Yeah, and the game is over. Sure. Well, that's about the most busted thing this deck can do. I mean, turn 3 Karn. Okay. You talked me into it. We'll lead on the beacon, I think. Get some bacon down there. Okay, another mono green deck. Yeah, this is elves. So maybe we'll actually go with the Karn Scion next turn to get a blocker down and just have a 2/2 on the board to maybe absorb some damage. That might be the best play at this point. Although, getting the Grafdigger's Cage is tempting because it shuts off their collected company, which they are possibly going to have next turn. But we're not going to be able to play the cage anyway, so I think the right call is just Karn Scion. And then we're going to minus on him. And make it 2/2. Oh, they'll have a Lord here at the very least, if not a Coco. Okay, just a Dwennan's Elite? That's not terrible. That's not the worst thing that could happen. Alright, so now we... what? Plus on this Karn. Try to hit our land drop so we can Golos.
Well chosen.
Okay, so they're going to give us the tome instead of the stone. Oh, they're thinking hard about it. Having a good think. Think, think, think. Oh, we do get the stone. Okay, that's interesting. What do we do now? Do we just lose the Karn Scion? Well, this makes it 3/3. But they, I think, are going to have a Lord next turn. So 3 mana. Put 1 counter on the Blast Zone. And then we'll at least be able to take out some 2-drops. And maybe Golos next turn for the little bit of ramp we can get off of him. I don't think the Elves deck runs removal, but maybe like Primal Might or Rabid Bite or something. I don't know. I guess it's technically possible, but I don't think they run. I don't think they run removal at all. They're just trying to get you to lose the game. So, very linear strategies don't often run removal. There's the Lord that we were expecting, but at least we get to trade somewhere. Depending, let's see how they attack. It'll be interesting. Really? Okay. Alright, then we'll just charge up our zone. Put 1 counter on it. Auto pay. And we'll get our turn back here and see what we can see. Okay, well, Archive is good, but we really want to hit a land drop here. So let's just get that happening.
Are you certain of your decision?
We're going to get the land, I think. Oh, no. Okay. Well, that's interesting. That is very interesting, opponent. Let's go. Let's get a blocker down. That's going to make our Karn struct a little bigger as well. And we'll go grab the Cataracts. So that's 6 for next turn. Probably do like the Archive and then maybe a Karn Great Creator. Grab a Spyglass for the Clan Caller in case they are unable to get to 6 mana next turn. Which I think they will be unable to. I'm not going to attack here because we could still get blown out by another Lord. But with any luck, we'll get to... yeah, here it is. Oh, darn. Well, attacks are still not great because just because of this 1 Karn struct, right? I mean, 1 Karn struct is a lot of power to hold down this to hold off that attack. That's incredible. What that thing just did. All right, so let's think. What is a way for us to control their board a little bit? We have a lot of mana with the Archdruid. I think we were just going to do the plan of this. And then we'll use Karn to go grab a board wipe or something.
I advise that you yield. My purpose is greater than myself.
Yeah, we're just kind of screwed not being able to play this right this turn. No, this feels really bad. Because they're just going to use Clan Caller's ability to go get another Lord. Which is really annoying. But whatever, we got a couple of 7/7s. Hopefully that can hold them off. And then maybe we'll start flipping stuff with Golos' ability next turn. I guess we could have done it this turn, technically. Okay, those don't have haste. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 mana next turn for us. We can take out a bunch of their 2-drops if we want to. Oh, or we can just do this. Which is probably quite a bit better. And we're going to want a -3 on this if they let us. I think they're just going to give up here. Would be my guess. Yep. And that's the power of Ugin the Spirit Dragon, people. Okay. If we draw some land, this could be good. We need exactly 1 land to get our Karn down. We'll get one of our Karns that way. Let's see if we can get it. Alright, we got it. So we'll go right from 2 mana to 4 mana and put down Karn Scion, I think. Depending on what we're facing here. Sleeves would suggest a red deck. Yeah, okay, we got a Gruul opponent. So Embercleave. Lots of good stuff like Questing Beast maybe. Questing Beast actually probably a better card in Historic than it is in Standard right now. Weirdly. Nothing on 2 is a problem for our opponent. We're just going to plus on this, I think. Try to hit a land.
I am Cartoon. I'll make use of that later.
Yeah, we'll get the land to our hand. Perfect. Alright, that's going to put us on Monument next turn and put us into Ulamog territory the following turn. Okay, so some kind of Gruul ramp deck. Sure. So we'll go land, Monument, minus on Karn to prevent us from taking too much damage from a haste creature.
Some solutions must be built.
And Ulamog next turn. So looks like we were able to go over the top of our opponent here, just ramping like crazy into Forsaken Monument. Hitting land drops, very key with the Karn Scion. Yeah, opponent gives it up. And that puts us into Gold Tier 3. So, rank up. No ramp cards. So I think it's probably going to be a mulligan. Yeah, better. Put back... what? Put back the Ugin, maybe? Okay, well, Ulamog's not the ideal draw right at the top of your deck. Slightly less than ideal. Alright, so maybe some kind of Bant control opponent would be my guess here. So we might see an Uro on this turn. Okay, a Cultivate, yeah. So Bant ramp. Into Mindstone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so it wasn't Nissa at least. 7. So let's think. 7, it's probably just going to be Golos, or maybe Karn Scion. Alright, so here's 8. This takes us to 9. Too bad it comes in tapped, otherwise we could Karn Scion as well. Now they probably run board wipes, so it's a consideration whether or not we should get Buried Ruin here, but we'll just go with the Cataracts and go for the high upside. But we could always get Buried Ruin to be able to get Golos back from the yard, should they wipe here. And they are on at least 3 white, so could even have something like a Planar Cleansing, although it seems unlikely. Just one other card in library besides the Uro. Oh, okay, one of these decks. Gotcha. Alright, here comes the Fabled Passage. I think they messed up their sequencing a little bit here. Because this is their first land, right? Or is this their second land for the turn? I can't remember. Alright, so we'll drop a counter here and pray to draw a land so we can exile this horrible Omnath Locus of Creation. This menace to the Magic Society. Alright, so we'll just have to wait until next turn. And here we're gonna do this.
I have faced worse
This.
than how convenient. An excellent choice.
Alright, so they're gonna give us the beacon. And then they're gonna try to go off next turn. Yeah, maybe we should have just activated Golos there, because we would have hit an Ugin and killed their guy. Alright, here we go. Everyone hold on to your butts. Alright, well their Ugin does nothing to us. But this ultimatum is a big problem.
This will not deter me.
Golos, I guess? They have 5 mana, right? Oh no, they're gonna escape Uro? No, they don't have the cards for Uro. Yeah, so Golos then. Got it. Alright, so 1 counter more on Blast Zone. And we Ulamog away their Omnath and their Golos. So this will take care of their Uro when they escape that. And it won't hit anything of ours that way. And we're going to exile these 2 things. And we might as well attack after we plus on this.
A curious choice.
So we'll get the fountain. We'll play the fountain. And we'll attack with Golos. And start flipping stuff with Golos next, probably. Alright, so they need another Omnath here. And then they're sandbagging the Fabled Passage, so they probably have it, right? The next Omnath is just coming in a second here. Oh, maybe not. Alright, so Genesis Ultimatum to hit Omnath. Okay, yeah, they hit it and the Cobra. That's too bad. Well, at least they sequenced it wrong and they already had their land drop done for a turn. Oh, they also hit lands, of course. Yeah, duh. Yep. Yep. We might be able to deck them, right? Shouldn't be that hard. Next turn we attack with Ulamog, deck them. If they draw any more cards here. I'm not sure why they're still drawing cards. They should know that what Ulamog does when it attacks. Yep. Yep. Alright, so now they're going to escape Uro. And that's going to draw a card. And they'll be at 22 cards in library. I guess they're okay. Because they're just going to untap and kill us after we attack with Ulamog, so... Oh, they're not going to escape Uro because they don't want to draw the card. I guess that makes sense.
He's rotting from. Consider this a warning.
Alright, so we need to hit an Ugin pretty badly here. Okay. Now they're at 21 cards. Alright, they really cannot draw any more, otherwise I will deck them. Alright, so they're not going to draw anymore. Alright, so let's start with this and see what we can draw. Okay, we'll grab that Ugin. Sure. That makes sense. We'll -4 on that Ugin.
Determine the course the time has come.
Yeah, -4 should do it. Alright, and we took down the big bad boogeyman in the format to end it. So, pretty fitting ending. I wonder if our opponent forgot that we had that in exile. Because I definitely forgot that I had it in exile before I looked. So, good times. Alright, so that was Colorless Ramp in the Historic Weekly feature. We saw a number of different decks, and we even got to close out that set of games playing against the 4-color Omnath Ramp deck, and just went right over the top of them and ended up winning the game with an Ugin because their deck is much more vulnerable to his minus ability than ours is. So a good, fun set of games with the Colorless Ramp deck. I think Forsaken Monument really showed what an engine it can be in the deck. Karn Scion of Urza doing some pretty good work for us. A quiet but unassumingly good card in the deck, and the -2 ability is something that we can really take advantage of, and that's what makes Karn a complete card in our deck. And not just the card advantage, but also the ability to put blockers on the board. You saw in several instances where we got a chance to hold off a little bit of our opponent's attack, like against the Elves deck, for example, and that just allowed us to bridge it to the later game. And that's really what Karn Scion's in the deck is for. He's a bridge to the late game, something that can keep us alive with the Karn Structs or get us more cards as we need. And, of course, Hedron Archive, like I said, you must have noticed, of course, that when we were able to play this card, we just had some of our most busted games, like being able to drop a turn 4 Ugin, the Spirit Dragon, which is pretty disgusting, and feels like the true degenerate deck that I love to play as a ramp player. We didn't get a chance to activate our Cascading Cataracts, but that can be a lot of fun with our Ugins and Ulamogs in the deck. And our mana base, we really don't... I find that I don't use the creature lands very much, but at least it is a way to close out games against control. The Grafdigger's Cage did not come in too handy, but we did see a ton of Uros, and that's the main reason why we have that in the deck. So as far as changes of what I would think about going forward, there's not much. I mean, it's a pretty tight list. It's got maybe one too many Ugin the Ineffables, but nonetheless, I think that's a pretty fun card and a sweet one to be able to make some tokens with. So that's going to do it for this week on the Historic Weekly feature. Please tune in next week, and this is Evil Empire signing off.